Yes, some of those are a little bit too personal. My name is Anju Mary Paul. I'm an assistant professor of sociology at Yale-NUS College. I guess I was precocious, maybe. I love to read. I was always a new kid in every place that I went to, and so I got very good at assimilating without necessarily feeling like I fully belonged in any place that I've been in. I was born in India, in the state of Kerala. I lived there with my parents and my older sister until I was about 4. Our family moved to Scotland, to Edinburgh, and I lived there for 3 years. We moved again to Saudi Arabia. I got a scholarship to come to Singapore for the last 2 years of high school for my A-levels. At this point, I'm no longer a child, so I don't know if I should stop at that point. At that age, you don't really realize what you're kind of getting yourself into at the same time. So it was really thrilling and exciting, but scary at the same time. Singapore, in comparison to what I had been exposed to in India, seemed like a freer society. Oh, I can take literature, and that was okay. That was quite incredible. Yeah, from the point of view of a 16-year-old who had been told by her parents that medicine and engineering were really the only 2 things that she could consider. I used to do a lot of writing, a lot of poetry, a lot of fiction. I have a fantasy of one day retiring and going back to it, but at this point in my time, just the plate is full. I suppose a novel. Not many people know that I was an aspiring novelist. People don't want to know about each other's failures, maybe. I think we are a college that thrives so much on an image of being elite that people are scared to talk about failures. And so it's not something I bring up very often, but it's also part of who I am. I was moving from Singapore to New York, and so the same feeling that I had when I first moved from India to Singapore came back to me when I moved to New York. In comparison to Singapore, New York was the most free place that I had ever experienced. I'd wake up really early in the morning and I'd go jogging around the village, around the NYU campus. And the light, this was the fall, and the light in New York is like no other place in the world. They were probably the happiest 2 years of my life. So I met my husband in New York. He was doing his PhD at NYU. I was doing my master's. His part-time job to organize events and activities for graduate students at NYU to explore more of the city. And I loved all of the events that he organized, and I just kept going for one event after another. It was a great way to explore the city. It was a great way to hang out with like-minded people, and I guess we just clicked. The weird thing is, before I left Singapore, one of my friends had told me that she had had this dream about me that I would end up marrying a Spanish man. And I was like, what are you talking about? How random can that prediction be? But yeah, she doesn't let me forget it now since it came true. Really stupid risks, right? So, okay, I'll tell you about one of them. So I had a boyfriend in the same boarding house that I was staying in. And so there was a floor in the boarding house, which was only where all the girls stayed, and there was another floor where all the boys stayed. And you were never, as a girl student, you were never allowed to go into the boys' floor. And I routinely broke that rule and finally got caught. The warden of the boarding house, he wanted to throw the book at me. He was threatening to tell my parents, to tell the scholarship board. I would lose my scholarship and have to go back to India. I was thinking this is the end of the line for me. After a lot of pleading, he finally relented and let me continue.
Did you go back to the boys' dorm after your reprimand?
Yes.